How can we get rid of the stupid Electoral College? That is what so many of you have been asking me over the past few weeks. I'm going to break that down along with a few other very pressing voting questions in this quick video. Friends, Sharon McMahon, longtime government teacher. My goal with these nonpartisan videos is to provide you with factual information that does not favor one position or another, just gives you information to make your own decisions. So let's get into question number 1 today, which is, why do we even have the Electoral College? Framers of the Constitution could not agree on how to choose a president. They initially thought, let's let Congress choose, and then realized that there were some big problems that could lead to corruption with that. Some people thought, let's have a popular vote, but there was a faction of people who were very strongly opposed to one person, one vote, and those were people who lived in slave states. If you will, from your history books, that in the early years of the United States, the population was really centered in the North, that when people lived in Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and the South was largely agricultural with hundreds of thousands of slaves. And leaders from the South knew that if they just allowed a popular vote, that the North had way more people to actually vote, free people to actually vote, and they would quickly find themselves in the position of not being able to have slaves at all. So they needed to come up with a compromise that still allowed white male landholders to vote, but didn't allow them to vote too much. You voted a little. You can vote a little bit, but not a lot. So James Madison actually is the person who came up with the compromise that allowed the Southerners to count each one of their slaves as 3/5 of a person so that they could hold on to larger amounts of political power in the Southern United States. And it is the system that allowed slavery to continue to exist for a very long time in the United States. So let's talk about, why don't we just get rid of it? There've been many hundreds of attempts to get rid of it. And a lot of people ask me, like, why doesn't the Supreme Court just declare it unconstitutional? And the answer to that is because it is actually written into the Constitution. You can't declare something unconstitutional that's in the Constitution. So the Supreme Court has absolutely no power to get rid of it. So that leaves the job of abolishing it squarely on the constitutional amendment process. Was a very strong attempt to get rid of the Electoral College in 1969 and 1970, when the House passed a bill at over an 80% margin that abolished the Electoral College. And it was a small number of senators from the South who were pro-segregation were able to filibuster and keep it from passing in the Senate, and thus Richard Nixon, who had said he would